Hey there retro gamers, welcome back to the channel, where we dive into the classics and relive the golden age of gaming. Today we take a nostalgia trip back to the 80s with the iconic Commodore 64. This legendary machine brought us some of the most memorable gaming experiences of all time, from pixelated adventures to groundbreaking gameplay. The C64 had it all, so grab your joysticks, get ready as we count down more of my top favorite Commodore 64 games. This game was one of the games that started my love of RPG games. Yes, I have said in the past that Final Fantasy on the NES did, but Final Fantasy cemented it. Eye of the Beholder is the one that started it all. The simplistic gameplay is what makes this game fun for me. There are no combo moves to memorize, no complicated spells to learn, just a maze with some monsters and stuff to find, and that's it. This is one of the more obscure ones that I loved to play as a kid. Now looking back at it today, I would never have been a small child play a game about a loved, praised, transsexual alien, but back then it was just a fun game to play. You can either play as Brad or Janet as you try to figure out what is really going on in Dr. Frankenfurter's mansion. But be warned, if you run into a cohort, you don't die, you just end up in your underpants and you have to find your clothes. Defender of the Crown is one I got back from a friend in the day. In Defender of the Crown, you play a knight who is trying to win the crown with a series of medieval games and raiding different kingdoms. If you like strategy games, this one is for you. Boulder Dash is one of those classic arcade games that got ported to the C64 that I loved. C64 port of arcade games was one of the ways I got to play arcade games back in the day. When I got a bit older, my friends and I took a bus to the mall. Now for your younger viewers, malls are big buildings with lots of stores in them that a lot of families and teenagers hung out at back in the day. Boulder Dash was one of those games that really had no story or ending. It was more of one of those how far can I get games that I loved to play as a pastime or if I got bored. Yes, you read that right. The name of the game is Impossible Mission. This game is strange, so strange enough that it even had a sequel to it. Here you play a person who is trapped in an evil scientist multi-story lab, and you have to figure out your way out by finding the pieces to the code to get to the exit, while avoiding deadly robots. However, you can also use the computer terminals that turn off the robots and traps, and you can touch anything you see in the rooms that are not robots. One of the reasons I like this game is when you start you're greeted with the voice telling you,
"Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever."
Mule is one simple but difficult game. It really has no action or complicated story. You just have to pick from one of 4 alien races and then put in a planet to compete with the other 3 races you didn't choose, as you try to inhabit the planet by gathering resources, buying and selling them with the others. If you want to know what Mule stands for, well, it stands for Multi-Use Labor Element. One of the reasons I like Mule is at the end of buying and selling, you can choose to develop another resource or go to a casino and gamble away to see if you win more cash. The simple graphics are what give this game its charm. A longer video on Spy vs. Spy in the past, but the C64 version is the one that I played the most. Who knew that basing a game off of an old Mad Magazine section would make a great game? In Spy vs. Spy, you just either play the white or black spy, and you have to find a briefcase and escape while planting traps to stop or slow down the other spy. And let me tell you, of the traps are ridiculously funny. From putting a bucket of electrified water on a door to a spring-loaded boxing glove and anything you can. Spy vs. Spy is just an awesome game, and if you end up running into the other spy, then it turns into a knife fight and the winner gets the briefcase and has to escape. Now if you play the harder levels in the game, you not only have to find the briefcase, you also have to find a boarding pass. Now I know you're asking yourself, why don't I like the other two parts of the game? Well, I do, but the third one was one of my favorites. The gameplay is one of the early RPG games that you use to control a team of characters, but the battle scenes also remind me of playing Final Fantasy Tactics. You have to figure out what spots will give you the best advantage to attack an enemy. Space Taxi is one of those games that are let's see how far I can get. In Space Taxi, you play a guy who drives a taxi that's to pick up passengers and get them to their destination. What makes this game difficult is the controls, which are wonky for a reason. You have to manage landing without killing a passenger by landing on them. And now for my number one spot on the list, Jumpman. Jumpman and the sequel, Jumpman Jr., are two of the best games in my mind that I have played. In Jumpman, you have to collect gems and simple boards, but the name implies the one mechanic that gives this game its difficulty. And with each level, the difficulty gets harder and harder. And one thing I do hate about the game is that if you fall from any height, you die. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up another trip down memory lane with some of my all-time favorite Commodore 64 games. I hope you enjoyed reminiscing this as much as I did. From the intense action of Impossible Mission to the hilarity of Spy vs. Spy, the C64 truly had something for everyone. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more retro gaming content. So hit that bell icon so you never miss an update, and let me know in the comments below which Commodore 64 games were your favorites, or if there are any hidden gems I should check out. Thanks for watching. I'm Professor Retro, telling you to keep your controllers plugged in, your consoles turned on. Peace out, and game on.